Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here. And it looks like we've only got one switch left. And I am Mighty the Armadillo here, welcome you all back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Nintendo Wii, or Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D for the Nintendo 3DS. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to get started with World 7, which appears to be the factory world, and so far we did somehow manage to able to complete 6 levels during that time. So, as a result, things go by a lot quicker than I thought it was. So today, for this video is that we're going to be hit on to the next level in this particular world, and this is known as Music Madness. Now, as far as I'm aware, this entire gimmick of this particular stage, despite I did died, which that was unexpected. So as a result, I think this is the third and the final level to able to feature a switch button to able to find and activate before you hit on to the forms of the next level. So because of this though, relatively speaking now, as you can tell, is all about the huge emphasis on musical bass, which as a result it does kind of reminds me of a similar vibe as in Music Plant from the likes of Sonic Adventure 2, except it takes place in a factory. And on top of all that stuff though, man, I really love the music in this stage. And in fact, kind of thinking about it, you know what that particular fan game as I'm on about? Ever since in the last video, since about 3 days ago, apparently though, the Music Madness background music you'll be hearing, that eventually does make it brought back during the forms of the game called Paper Mario 3D Land, which is essentially that game is more likely a fan-made game made by DJ Coco for that matter. Even though I did manage to play for a bit, but unfortunately though, we suffered by the forms of computer lag. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, it's a bit unfortunate that we can able to actually try to play the game out, but of course the lag does not help us, after all. So, but either way though, that might be saying something, so yeah, anyway, today's date, of course, is the 22nd of May today. It is case in 2023 today. Not much else to talk about, I'm afraid, guys, in terms of the forms of news, updates, or anything else like that, because sure enough, Sonic has already mentioned about a lot of stuff during the forms of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis. And besides that Sonic is basically, well, I think I should probably save that conversation once we get to on Wednesday and Friday, essentially, because until on Wednesday, something will happen during the course of on Wednesday, essentially, and that's of course celebrating the 10th anniversary of one of the versions of the game, specifically, you know, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. Now I think about it is that whenever I know something is that on the Japanese version of the box art, that usually, relatively speaking, now unlike the Wii version, it does manage to contain like something like green related, whilst in the 3DS version for some reason does not contain related to something green related or something like that, or maybe potentially for its game casing or something. Mind you, it's been a very long time since we actually researched upon something related to the Japanese version of something relates to that. And then something tells me about the fact I believe on the 3DS version of Donkey Kong Country Returns, believe it or not, they somehow managed able to use the actual Japanese text or the Japanese logo that also features a familiar Super Mario font based off from Super Mario 3D Land, which seems pretty cool in my opinion, especially because obviously Mario and Donkey Kong are likely, it's kind of hard to explain really, because either way though, it's been about 3 days ago since we've last played this game for sure. Although relatively speaking though, about the fact that I can assure you, this is going to be one of the shortest videos in this entire playthrough so far. Plus just because about the fact that we haven't got that much levels left for the sake of the forms of World 7 as far as this is concerned. Well, aside from the fact that we still need to head back to the previous stages again for, you know what I mean, trying to find the last few puzzle pieces, and luckily we did somehow manage to find every single puzzle pieces, and I, for whatever reason, died for whatever reason again. That's just because I was trying to search for something, especially it's because of how the fact that, well, good thing we've already now found ourselves all the puzzle pieces in Music Madness level, so all we need to do now is just that we need to find the final switch in order to able to actually proceed to this world, because again, if you miss out on that particular switch, you have to revisit to the previous level again, and then you have to able to find it for reals. So anyways, let's grab the G and that'll be good to go. So, and I see there's a barrel down there, so we got able to go down here, And we finally made our way to the third and final switch. So of course this will be the last plug socket, able to actually just get that plugged in. And we should be all set by then. So either way though, but if you manage to able to revisit any of those levels like this again, there's no way you can able to actually go back in there again, because obviously everything else is all sorted by then. So yeah, because for the most part though, oh come on, we were so close during that time. So either way, it's even bad enough that we don't have Diddy Kong with us. So yeah, I was not expecting it. So anyway, so something's worth noting for is about the fact that, relatively speaking, that yeah, I suppose when I did manage to research upon something in regards to the defaults of those Tiki names, or to be more specifically, Tiki Tag Tribe, I think that's what the whole group of these Tikis are called, do have names, by the way, which I'll go round down the list as soon as we're able to actually get into the next temple level. So I'm pretty certain about the fact that we can able to save that conversation whenever we get to that point. So anyways, let's go ahead and make our way to this point, and I think this is the last part of the level where basically we launch ourselves way higher because of the forms of that hammer just trying to able to smack the actual drum as like a platform of any sorts. And either way though, I will admit though right away, I really do like this level, especially because my god, the music is so cool. Especially no wonder why I did manage to bring that music back from one of those Mario fan-made games, which is of course, as I said before, Paper Mario 3D Land. I'm pretty sure it's in World 4-3, which I'm sure enough though that I've seen a lot of playthroughs of it. So either way, that basically takes care of the forms of music madness, and now we've able to actually activate the rocket. So there what that means, we've now unlocked the next level, and another level's been unlocked as well. But first off, we need to go ahead and take care of these puzzle pieces first, which I think straight to the point is once again 3 levels, so jeez, it never ends, doesn't it? So yeah, I suppose that's what I can really think about this. So we'll meet you guys back and find the rest of these puzzle pieces. Alright, if I recall correctly, one of them is actually the beginning, but here's the catch, we do need to able to pick up or grab every single collectibles on this particular section, as you can see, because if you dare miss one, obviously the puzzle piece will not show up, so. And I believe the last one is going to be pretty well hidden, and I think something tells me we do need able to blow into the fog, and there it is, right over there. Gee, I did not see that coming, huh? But anyways, now let's go ahead and move on to the forms of 7-5. Oh, you kidding me? It's right over there. Jeez, I'm dumb. And if I recall correctly, son of a biscuit, it's the exact same formation there. Jeez, those lampshades, they always attempt able to hide those jigsaw puzzle pieces for me. Ah, whatever. Last level. Alright, if I'm assuming correctly, I think it's probably best to recommend using Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong on this part, because otherwise, yeah, that basically explains how that it leads us straight to the bonus area. So either way, and yeah, for the most part, I think we're basically done at this point, well, aside from the fact that we still need to complete this room first before we can do anything. So, but either way, something tells me about the fact that I think, thankfully, the next temple level might be nowhere near as hard as the Falsifier does on the previous one though, because, well, we'll get some more details as soon as we dive right into the level, so we'll meet you guys back in the world map screen. So anyways, we now meet our way back to the world map, so let's go and get on to the forms of the temple level now, and that's what appears to be World 7-K, Treacherous Track. I wonder what this level concept is going to be somewhat familiar at this point. Especially, I'm pretty sure for those who haven't played Donkey Kong Country 1 before, basically the entire level gimmick, it might be seems familiar to you. But either way though, luckily we got ourselves the DK barrel at the start of the level, so that should be a good thing. So as a result though, we won't be able to have that much trouble with this level. So as you can see, we actually stumbled across into ourselves this particular platform that is continuously moving, and because of that though, in order to be able to progress for this particular level, so we need to keep on activating those switches, because otherwise if you activate the switch, more of the tracks will add up. However, if you miss one of the switches, then obviously that platform will fall, and there's no way for progressioning. So, yeah, kind of think about it. This particular level concept like this is actually very similar to the likes of Donkey Kong Country 1. Let's just say, for instance, in one of those stages that you have to able to catch a ride on that particular conveyor belt platform or something, and basically you have to able to keep on collecting those oil drums in order to able to keep the fuel going. Now, on top of all that stuff though, it feels kind of a similar thing as in this, although the noticeable difference is there, is that obviously, thankfully, we don't get kicked out of the level and return back to the world map, unlike the forms of how it does it on Donkey Kong Country 1. So, but either way though, that might be saying something. So, anyway, so apart from those side of things though, that's as far as I can say about this level, honestly. Even though about the fact that it's thankfully is nowhere near as punishing as the forms of how it does it from the previous level, which is Perilous Passage in my opinion. Just because of the lack of Diddy Kong at the start of the level. And on top of all that stuff though, it's just about the fact that with lava just instantly kills you for a certain amount of time. And something tells me we didn't make it in time. Sometimes the only tricky part about this stage to me though is about the fact that you need to keep up with the platform itself. So that's the only tricky part. But aside from all that stuff though, it looks like we've almost done with the puzzle pieces, believe it or not. Yeah, despite the fact that we most likely sometimes able to actually get some bit of mistakes here and there, when it comes to able to getting distracted by, you know, just obtaining all kinds of puzzle pieces here and there, after a while, yeah, I was thought about something. So either way though, and believe it or not though, it's about the fact that I'm pretty certain about the fact that recently we started going back to Mario Kart Tour again, and no matter what though, I believe we've almost at the halfway point in terms of the Mii Tour right now. So relatively speaking though, everything else will be pretty much expected at that point, despite the fact that I'm not exactly a huge fan of the game still, especially because of all that bad controls, and I don't feel like trying to repeat that process again. So I might be biased when it comes to that. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep on crouching. So either way though, chances are though, when you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too bad. So, oh jeez, that was a definition of a close call right there. If you think we've done here, well, as it turns out about the fact that we still got a whole ways to go. So relatively speaking, we'll just do an enemy bounce right here, and it's just a banana coin. It seems kind of pointless. Especially that we've almost potentially trying to able to max out all of our... Oh, jeez. Oh, I did not jump! Oh, shoot. Oh well, no big deal. But at the very least, we got all the puzzle pieces right now, so we don't have to necessarily worry about, you know, frustration all over again. So I guess that makes it a little bit obvious for that point. So anyway, so let's talk about the forms of the specific names when it comes to the forms of Tiki Tag, tribe, as far as what certain tikis are known as. Well, aside from the final one, which that'll be a discussion in a later day. So as a result, the names are Crazy Clamber, as well as the forms of the Maraca Gang, and Gong O, and Banjo Bottom, as well as Wacky Pipes, and Xylophone, and finally, perhaps even most notably, Accordion. Which, as a result, as you probably can tell with that familiar silhouette, every time whenever you die, then obviously that will see that particular Tiki thing we're about to stumble across into one of the worlds. So, something to worth classify for noticing that, especially because about the fact that, well, since that despite we did somehow die occasionally due to the forms of some very weird level structure that we have to able to put up with, or the level elements to it, I mean, sure, it might felt a bit... Oh, I don't know, it's been quite some time since we actually played this game for sure, so... Anyways, let's see if we can able to pass for this point, because obviously, that, again, if you miss one switch, then it's done. It's over, so... Oh, jeez, it's getting pretty nerve-wracking, but, at the very least, although, despite we did somehow lost Diddy Kong, well, finally, we somehow made it. Yep, especially concerning about the fact that we stumbled across into the black color orb. So I believe we've now got one more color orb left until something will happen until later on. So I guess that's that. So now with that out of the way, so now it's going to move on to the forms of what else? The next level, or should I say, a mini level of any sorts, which fundamentally speaking though, that in order able to actually get to the next boss in the game, basically we need to able to hit into the forms of World 7R Liftoff launch. So basically it's about the fact that we need to obviously hop into the rocket, and basically all you have to do is just make your way to the top, and there's no gold barrel or anything else like that, so it's just a matter of the forms of, well, just trying to make it to the very top, and that's pretty much about it. So as you can see, we stumbled across into a rocket over there. So now before we do that, let me quickly go ahead. Bruh, are you serious? My Wii remote is not even helping me. Oh jeez, I just have no idea why I somehow managed to accidentally shake the Wii remote despite I was pressing down, but then instead I just did a roll attack instead. That's just pretty dumb of me. But anyway, that was pretty unexpected and pretty embarrassing at the same time with that death. So yeah, as you can tell, we now stumbled across into our rocket barrel segment, but instead of going to the forms of the horizontal way, so instead we're actually going to be going into a vertical perspective. So of course, the trick about this is about the fact that you still need to try to avoid a lot of stuff, as you can tell, because obviously if you crash into stuff, then you have to start all over at the beginning portion of the level again. So, but either way, as far as I can recall, that basically it does contain 2 of those segments. So one of them is actually pretty easy though, well, despite you still need to dodge a lot of stuff like those blimps and such. But until at the very end, somehow those enemies did somehow send us some bananas, strangely. And once we make it to the top, well, that's it. That's the end of the level. So again, there's no gold barrel or anything else to be more specific, so either way, that's that. Yup, especially, it's now gonna lead us straight to the boss. So, it's kinda weird about those arrows seems to able to lead us there. So anyway, World 7B, Feather Fiend. So, in some cases though, I think it could be something more likely a chicken related. Well, I suppose so anyway, but either way though, we shall see what happens as soon as we're able to proceed to this point. So, and good thing is about the fact that we can able to, as usual, bring out Diddy Kong, just to make the entire boss fight a bit quicker and easy to manage, I guess. Okay, so here we go with the next boss in the game, and this boss is actually known as Kernel Plug, and obviously he's got been possessed by the forms of accordion, or accordion to be more specific, when it comes to that particular Tiggy boss, as we've already mentioned this earlier. Now, out of all the actual bosses in this game, to me this boss is one of the hardest in the game, mainly because about the fact that in order able to attack him, well, it does have multitude of phases, obviously. So obviously about the fact that in this first phase, all you have to do is basically you need to stand underneath his particular contraption, and basically as soon as you're able to see those green chains, that's essentially how you need to able to keep doing motion mashing, and that's how you're essentially going to deal the damage. But that doesn't usually become the thing about the fact you do realize that his legs will become pretty unpredictable at times, mainly because it might be something to do with the random pattern, with like somewhere in between, or split those legs apart. But either way though, because chances are you're gonna get hit a lot in this boss fight. So yeah, as a result of that kind of stuff though, I think this might be actually be the only time that we might come across into a death in a boss fight, which as a result, it feels kind of similar thing as the forms of how it does it, since we accidentally died during the forms of the Mole Miner Max, at least as far as I'm aware, because as far as I can definitely notice, because they, you know what I mean, he pops out of nowhere with the stack of bananas and the mine carts and all that stuff though. I mean, sure enough though, that seems the case. So either way, yeah, unfortunately we died at this point, so because of that though, And because of that, though, we died on the second phase. So, oh well, no big deal. So we're able to potentially try to skip the cutscene as well. So, because we already technically seen it. So, anyway, so, gonna think about it. This particular boss fight with that particular chicken has got possessed. It does kind of reminds me of something related to that particular penguin, disguise based off from Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers. Oh yeah, kind of think about it though, it looks kind of similar for that regard, except, well, it's obviously a chicken, not a penguin, so, yeah, I think you totally get the picture for this point, Mighty. I mean, sure enough, it does kind of looks a bit similar for that regard, so... oh, darn it. That was incredibly bad luck in my part, so I think potentially speaking though, yeah, if you let that contraption just go into flames, then obviously that you can't, well, it's pretty tricky to explain, so... Gee, we've stumbled across into a second death so far, because I can definitely tell that this is without doubt the hardest fight in the game, just because of all that, you know, unpredictable patterns that you have to able to consider with, and on top of all that stuff though, it's just about the fact that, well, it does manage to take place in the forms of a conveyor belt and stuff like that, which, luckily, strangely enough, it doesn't seem to move on the conveyor belt. It's just a matter of the forms of this very, very, pretty obscure animation that you have to pay attention to. So, but either way, though, that's what I can really say about this. Although, I promise you guys, until at some point on Wednesday, then we can potentially try to make the commentary look a bit interesting. But, as a result, for right now, there's not much else we can speak about, just because, as I said before, Sonic has already mentioned about this a lot. So either way though, ranging between Fast and Furious 10 reviews so far, and on top of that, some tons of stuff as well. So either way though, I don't feel like trying to able to explain about this for the sake of time, because obviously about the fact that, you know, we're actually getting very close towards the end of the game right now. And I think, relatively speaking also, is that I think Tiana, she's also almost towards the end of the game too. Well, in regards to the forms of Metroid Fusion as well. So, yeah, everything else goes all pretty quick. And on top of that, also same applies to Sonic himself as well. So, potentially speaking, that by the end of this month, well, we could possibly able to actually finish up not one, but 3 Let's Plays all in one. Well, by the end of the forms of May sometime. Well, at least depending on the forms of the timing aspect. And on top of all that stuff, though, is about the fact that, well, I'm sure we'll explain more details about other details worth noting for in a later day. So, either way, so as you can tell, about the fact the matter is though, is that we're now onto the second half, or the second phase of the fight. And basically, all you have to do is that once he starts landing on the ground, or in some cases dips down at one point, then basically though is your chance to able to just smack his head around. And that's pretty much about it basically. So either way though, yeah, that's as far as I can think about it, so... And there goes Cordian as a Tiggy. And I think this is the final time for doing this. Especially that as soon as we get to the final world in the game, I don't think it's possible we can do this part! But this is the last time we'll see that particular Tiki's blasting off again kind of syndrome. You know, just like in the forms of Jesse and James in the actual Pokemon anime, including Meowth as well. So, but either way, that's pretty much about it for the factory world. I'm very surprised that on the second half of this world, goes by a lot faster, kind of thinking about it. So with that said, yeah, pretty awesome world indeed, despite how difficult that can be. So either way, yeah, nice job. So I think we should probably end things off at this point right here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns, is that we're about to be hit on to the forms of the final frontier, which appears to be by the forms of the volcano in World 8. And oh boy, this is going to be interesting to say the least, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later dudes.